wanted to do a podcast today on the problem with supplements in general. Supplements are not bad in depending on what you need. So I'm not trying to do a podcast like anti-supplement, but I do want to give you kind of one of the limiting factors in using supplements is how to calculate everything and how to know exactly what you need. Okay, you can go get analysis, you can get tested, you can do this, but there's so many factors in why one thing goes down, another goes up. You take copper and zinc goes down. You have a magnesium deficiency, and then your vitamin D deficiency is going down, is increasing. So then you get one covered, and then they both kind of go up a little bit, but you didn't take any more of the other one, and so there's a lot of I guess you could say things that we can't understand about the body. So it does make it harder to calculate a lot of these things. And what's great about one of the difficulties that we don't think about in the body is how to deliver everything. So you're like, okay, I'm going to take this substance and it's going to be delivered perfectly to all my cells. And it's like, it's not true. Like your body has to deliver that substance and through the tissues, well, through the blood and then through the tissues, I guess. But the blood is going to contain a certain amount of these minerals and different things that you're actually trying to supplement, but how is it going to get it to all these different areas? So a lot of times you can't get the delivery done right, and that's why we have modern medicine, and they do injections, and they do all these different things into different tissues and things, because they know that it's hard to get the body to perfectly do what you want it to do with just by taking a pill. So one of the key things that I discovered through the transdermal application, not only of like magnesium oil, CBD oil, K2, I think there's vitamin D, there's all sorts of things now that come through the skin that we can use. Now, I don't see a lot of people putting fermented cod liver oil all over their body, but that doesn't mean that if there was a 4-day retreat where they did something like that and then finished with magnesium all over their body and K2 all over their body, emu oil, and they were able to, go through that 4 or 5 day period of super vitamin recharge through the skin, I would probably line up for it, because it's something that would be a little bit smelly the first day. Well, the cod liver oil day would be the worst day, right? But it could create a rapid influx of deficiency recovery, because it's harder to pull that same reality off without sticking syringes all over the place and trying to get things, you're trying to, and that's not the right way. There's another way to do it. How to get something delivered to the, okay, let's say the brain needs to detoxify aluminum, heavy metals, things from vaccines, from antibiotics, from medicines, from food, from containers, from the air. I mean, the catalytic converter and all the aluminum that cars are made from, the blocks, they're made of aluminum now, and all sorts of things are made of aluminum. This stuff's all going in the air, right? Incinerators use aluminum chassis and catalytic converters and volatile areas that come in contact with flame. And so, all this stuff coming into the air, and we're just supposed to, these are all thyroid killing and endocrine disruptors. It's not just plastics which destroy the endocrine system, but also, heavy metals and stuff. So how are we going to get these out of our brain? Well, we got to get certain things to chelate up there in the brain and pull them down and get them in the blood and get them out the emunctories and from everything from sweat to urine and feces and everything else. We have to get all this stuff coming out of us however we can. So how is the body going to do that? Well, it's much easier if you have like transdermal magnesium, topical magnesium, and you actually apply it to the head. So if you apply it there, there's an intelligence there. It's not like you're stupid because, oh, he's not taking the pill. It's like, no, you're actually being more intelligent because you're taking a better idea, which comes through our ancestors, this idea that transdermal magnesium absorbs to the skin. This is an old idea. They were mining for this stuff back in China thousands of years ago. Like they had found ways to access, they knew where certain waters were, mineral-rich waters, and they would use these sources, and uh, they knew the minerality, what it was doing. I mean, they're not stupid. Even if they didn't have the science to confirm what they were doing, they could feel it, right? So that wisdom of how magnesium absorbs through the skin, through all this magnesia, the origin of the bath culture in Greece and from Spa and Belgium and Bath in England, those are all cities coming from the Roman Empire and all their wisdom on that, on the bathing concept and what that was all about. So, and even today, even in France, you can get a prescription from a doctor that sends you to a certain mineral-rich water for a certain lung condition or whatever, or convalescence or um, arthritis or rheumatoid condition or whatever. So that's all reality. So it's not something that we're just making up now. But so now you take all that reality, all that wisdom, you put it into a concentrated form, and you apply it on your head, right? So if you're doing that daily, little by little, that region is, the tissues are becoming saturated with the magnesium. They come through the sweat glands. Go look up sweat glands. Go look up hair follicles. You'll see what goes down in there. You'll see the empty follicles. You'll see all of these things that come in, and the veins which connect to that. And so you'll see that this is all an intelligent system of distribution, not only of processing the magnesium from the acidic processes in the first layer of the skin, but also in the lipid layers and conjugating it and bringing about like glycinates and threonates and citrates and all these complex molecules in the body itself through these processes. I mean, vitamin D is also manufactured in the skin at first, the first phase, and then it moves into a portable form, and then it's changed in the liver into its most active form. So, so we have this kind of beginning in the skin, etiology happening here in the skin. What we're doing is trying to use this wisdom to be smart and like apply it where we need it. If you have cramps and pains and lumbalgia and sciatica, different things in areas, okay, apply it there. And so use that intelligence. Like taking a pill is, what's so funny about taking a pill sometimes is, one, it doesn't bring about any real changes in the person or rituals or practices, or even the bathing and touching your skin and the massage that the transdermal, that brings out something more tangible in a way and more rhythmical in our life. Whereas, just taking pills, you don't change very much. I mean, you get a lot further trying to learn to make 24-hour broth and buy a crock pot, stainless steel if you can, or better in the Dutch oven, really heavy stuff. But if you have to buy a crock pot, get a stainless steel one from Canada or whatever, and learning to make that broth is probably going to be much more powerful for your health long term than any pill will be, because it's the changes we make that bring about the greatest health benefits, not just taking something which brings about very little of consciousness in that. Learning to make broth, there's a lot of consciousness going on there. And so is learning to make, homemade kefir milk curds and different types of things like that. That takes consciousness, and that takes like a type of storyline, a culture, a cultivation, etc. So that's one of the key features of using transdermal magnesium, is you can actually use it in the way you need to and help the skin tissues assimilate that, and then they bring that in little by little when it's needed into the blood to bring out things. So they help detoxify the system through that. Most of the magnesium in the body is we have it stored in the teeth and bones and in the tissue, and soft tissues and muscles, but it's also a high percentage of it is it's at the intercellular level. It's within the cells, and so to be able to bring that into the cells at the local level at a perfect rate all the time, the transdermal gospel, you could call it, allows for that to happen. It allows for us to bring that always in. And so, and have that saturation and have a surefire way to do it, where we don't have to calculate, do I need to be taking my B6, or do I have enough calcium and magnesium ratio? No. The body's doing all of that, and it understands that. And typically, magnesium is the limiting factor in most of these ratio, hair-splitting arguments. So magnesium is going to always be beneficial pretty much in that capacity. It'll be the calcium or whatever, which we may need to watch or find the right form of or whatever. But the magnesium is the limited one typically. So anyway, just putting that out there so you have a different way of doing these things. Check out our podcast on the threefold remedy as well if you want to go into how to heal deficiencies in synergy and not just attack one, vitamin A, D, and K2, which are the biggest, and how to do this right through a threefold, like a three-way trinity way. I don't know what to call that. I just know that we have a threefold system, a trifecta of things hitting us from body, soul, and spirit to air, water, environment, food. We're getting it, and so we get this threefold attack, and so we need a threefold counterattack, which comes from wisdom and not just from isolated products. You need to learn to combine them, and to where you get a greater effect. And so, anyway, that's what I feel like the future of medicine will be, because doctors have been almost neutered in a certain degree with all the strangulations of regulations and everything. Then it's up to the health coaches and the naturopaths and all the purveyors of truth and the seekers to find solutions that, when combined, seem to work. If you look at the hydrochloroquine and quercetin, or hydrochloroquine and zinc movement that happened, you see that was a powerful movement just because two things were combined, and because of that, one became an ionophore or a gate opener for the other, and bam, we had a much stronger effect. So there's many things like that in medicine that are just waiting for us to open the doors, and in natural medicine too, to show us how powerful natural medicine can be. Anyway, come check us out. Get the right stuff at theheartoftradition.com. Always use glass bottles. Always do not get fake Zechstein, authentic Zechstein, genuine Zechstein, ancient Zechstein, or whatever they call it. Always has to have the word Zechstein inside, or it's not coming from Holland. Or if it is, there's no certification. There's no way you're going to be able to know if it is, basically. The Zechstein Inside label allows you to call the actual engineers at the source. Nobody gives you their source. They just give you some lab printout. Anybody can send a sample to Holland and get a lab printout. So you need to do this stuff right, get the right stuff. It's only $3 a week. heartoftradition.com. Come check us out.